Stop scrolling, because what I'm about to tell you is the most disturbing thing that's ever happened to me at a family dinner. My name is Claire Watson. I'm 29 years old, and 3 months ago, I went to my parents' house for Sunday dinner like I'd done 1,000 times before. We were eating, normal conversation, normal evening. Then my mother leaned forward and whispered, "Act normal." They're watching us. I looked around the dining room. Nobody was there, just us three. "Who's watching us?" I asked. My father's hand shot out and squeezed my wrist, hard. "Claire, act normal." His eyes were wide, terrified. He wasn't joking. My mother smiled at empty air and said loudly, "More potatoes, dear?" I looked where she was smiling, at the empty corner of the room. That's when I realized something was very, very wrong with my parents. What I discovered over the next few weeks was so disturbing, I still can't sleep properly. Stay with me. This story gets dark. Let me take you back so you understand. I grew up in a normal, middle-class family in suburban Ohio. My parents, Linda and Robert Watson, were typical parents. Dad was an accountant. Mom was a librarian. We had a normal childhood. Me and my younger brother Tyler. Family dinners every Sunday. Vacations to national parks. Movie nights. Nothing strange. Nothing unusual. I moved out at 22 for a job in Cleveland, about an hour from my parents. Tyler moved to Chicago for grad school. For the next 7 years, I visited my parents every few weeks, usually Sunday dinners. Everything seemed fine, normal, until about 6 months ago. I started noticing small changes in my mother. She'd pause mid-sentence, looking at something I couldn't see. "Mom? You okay?" "What?" "Oh yes, sorry, just thinking." She'd set extra places at the dinner table. "Mom, it's just the 3 of us tonight." "Why are there 5 plates?" "Is it?" "Oh." She'd remove the extra plates, looking confused. My dad would exchange glances with her, concerned glances. "Your mother's been stressed," he'd explain. "Work has been difficult." "Is everything okay?" "Fine. Just fine." But it wasn't fine. The episodes got more frequent. She'd talk to empty rooms. "I'll be right there," she'd say to nobody. She'd walk into a room, pause, and back out slowly. "Sorry, didn't know you were in here." Nobody was in there. "Dad, I'm worried about Mom." "She's seeing a doctor." "Don't worry." "What does the doctor say?" "Just stress. She needs rest." But it kept getting worse. 2 months ago, I arrived for Sunday dinner. My mother answered the door and whispered, "Come in quickly. Don't let them see you." "Don't let who see me?" "Shh." She pulled me inside and closed the door fast. Then she smiled brightly. "So lovely to see you, dear. Let me take your coat." The sudden shift was jarring, terrifying almost. My father was in the living room reading a newspaper, except he wasn't reading. He was staring at the same page, unmoving. "Dad?" He jumped. "Claire!" "You're here. Good, good." He folded the newspaper with shaking hands. We sat down to dinner. Everything seemed normal at first. Then my mother glanced toward the corner of the room and nodded slightly. "Mom, who are you looking at?" "Nobody. Just thinking." But she kept glancing there, every few minutes. My dad noticed too. He'd follow her gaze, then quickly look away, like they were both seeing something I couldn't. "Okay, what's going on?" I finally asked. They both looked at me with forced smiles. "Nothing's going on," my dad said too quickly. "You keep looking at the corner." "Both of you." "We're not—" "Yes, you are. Mom's been doing this for weeks. Now you're doing it too." My mother's smile faded. She looked genuinely frightened. "Claire, please. Just, let's have a nice dinner." That was the first time I truly understood. Something was seriously wrong. The following weeks got progressively stranger. I started visiting more often, checking on them. Every time there were new oddities. My mother would set extra places at the table. When I pointed it out, she'd look confused and remove them. My father started locking all the doors and windows, even during the day. "Why is everything locked, Dad?" "Security. You can never be too careful." "But you never cared about security before." "Well, I do now." They installed cameras, inside the house, pointing at rooms. Why do you have cameras inside? To keep an eye on things. On what things? No answer. I checked the camera feeds on their app, just empty rooms, nothing unusual. But my parents watched those feeds constantly, phones in hand, staring at empty rooms. One evening I caught my mother talking to her phone, not on a call, just talking to the camera feed. Yes, I understand. I'll be more careful. Mom, who are you talking to? She jumped, looking guilty. Nobody. Just talking to myself. I looked at her phone. The feed showed their empty living room. Mom, there's nobody there. I know that, she snapped. Then softer. I know that. But she didn't sound convinced. My brother Tyler came home for Thanksgiving. I pulled him aside. Have you noticed anything strange about Mom and Dad? Like what? Like, they keep acting like someone's watching them, someone who isn't there. Are they having delusions? I don't know, maybe. But Dad's doing it too now. They both see something. We should get them evaluated. Maybe early dementia? They're only 62 and 64. That's young for dementia. Maybe a shared psychotic disorder? Folie à deux? Tyler was in psychology grad school. He knew the terms I didn't. What's that? When two people share the same delusion. Usually happens with couples who are very close. One person develops a delusion and the other person starts believing it too. That sounds exactly like what's happening. We tried to talk to them about seeing a doctor. They refused. We're fine, my dad insisted. Stop worrying. You're not fine. You're both acting like someone's watching you constantly. Because someone is watching, my mother said quietly. We all turned to look at her. Mom, who's watching you? She looked at my dad. He shook his head slightly. Nobody, she said. I misspoke. But the fear in her eyes was real. 3 months ago, I went to Sunday dinner. This is when everything changed. I arrived at 5 p.m. The house was dark, all curtains drawn. Why are all the curtains closed? I asked. Privacy, my dad said simply. We sat down to dinner. The table was set for 5 people. Mom, why are there 5 plates? She looked at the table, confused. Are there? I thought, never mind. She removed 2 plates. We started eating. Pot roast, my mother's specialty. Normal conversation at first. Work, weather, Tyler's grad school. Then my mother paused, her fork halfway to her mouth. She was staring at the corner of the room, the same corner she always stared at. But this time, her expression was different. Not confused, terrified. Mom? She didn't respond, just stared. My dad noticed. He followed her gaze. His face went pale. Linda, he said quietly, don't engage. I'm not, she whispered. But I know. What are you two talking about? I demanded. They both turned to me with forced smiles. That's when my mother leaned forward and whispered, Act normal. They're watching us. Who's watching us? I looked around. Empty room. Just us. My father squeezed my wrist, hard, painfully hard. Claire, act normal. His eyes were wide, desperate, genuinely terrified. My mother looked at the empty corner and smiled brightly, too brightly. More potatoes, dear? She said loudly, to nobody. I looked where she was looking. Empty corner, empty air. Mom, there's nobody there. Claire, please, my dad hissed. Just play along. Play along with what? They're testing us, my mother whispered, still smiling at nothing. They want to see if we'll tell you. We can't tell you. If we tell you, they'll... Linda! My dad's voice was sharp. She stopped talking, but tears were running down her face, while she smiled. It was the most disturbing thing I'd ever seen. Okay, that's it, I said. We're going to the hospital. Right now. Both of you. We can't leave, my dad said. Why not? They won't let us. Who won't let you? He pointed at the corner, where nobody was standing. Them. I looked at the empty corner, then back at my parents. They were both staring at it now, both terrified. Of nothing. Of empty air. That's when I called 911. The ambulance came. My parents didn't resist. They seemed almost relieved. At the hospital, they ran tests: MRI, CT scan, blood work, psychological evaluation. I sat in the waiting room for hours. Tyler drove up from Chicago, arrived around midnight. What happened? I told him everything. The dinner, the whispers, the invisible watchers. Jesus, he whispered. That's classic shared psychotic disorder. Can it be fixed? Usually separation helps. If you separate the two people, the secondary person often recovers. The primary person needs treatment. Who's primary? Probably Mom. She showed symptoms first. The doctor came out at 2 a.m. Ms. Watson, I'm Dr. Patel. I've been evaluating your parents. Are they okay? Physically, they're healthy. All tests came back normal. And mentally? He hesitated. They're both experiencing what we call shared delusional disorder. They believe they're being watched by entities that don't exist. Can you help them? We can try. We're admitting them for observation. We'll start them on antipsychotic medication, and we're going to separate them, put them in different rooms. Why separate them? Because their delusions are reinforcing each other. Separation often breaks the cycle. They admitted my parents, put them on different floors. I visited them the next day, my mother first. She seemed calmer, medicated. Mom, how are you feeling? Better. The medicine helps. The voices are quieter. Voices? That's what they are. Voices. The doctors explained it. They're not real. I know that now. Relief flooded me. That's good, Mom. That's really good. But Claire, she grabbed my hand. What if they're wrong? Wrong about what? What if they are real? What if they really are watching? Mom, they're not real. The doctors confirmed it. But they feel so real. They look so real. That's the delusion. It feels real, but it's not. She nodded slowly, but she didn't look convinced. I visited my dad next. Different floor, different room. He looked worse, agitated, anxious. Claire, you have to get me out of here. Dad, you need treatment. I need to be with your mother. They're going to get her. She's alone. Who's going to get her? The Watchers. They don't like it when we're separated. This makes them angry. Dad, there are no Watchers. It's a delusion. The doctors don't know what they're talking about. Claire, please, you have to believe me. I'd never seen my father so desperate. I can't get you out, Dad. You need help. I need to protect your mother. A nurse came in and gave him more medication. He calmed down gradually. After a week, my mother was released. The medication was working. I see now that they weren't real, she told me. It was my mind playing tricks. I'm glad you're feeling better. I'm sorry I scared you. It's okay. You couldn't help it. My dad took longer, 2 weeks, but eventually he improved too. I don't know what happened to us, he said when he was released. We just started seeing things. It's called shared delusional disorder. You're going to be okay now. They came home, stayed on medication, saw therapists weekly. For a month, everything seemed fine. Then the cameras appeared again. I came for Sunday dinner, our first since the hospital, and noticed new cameras. Mom, Dad, why do you have cameras up again? We like feeling secure, my dad said. But the doctors said, the doctors don't live here, my mother interrupted. We do. We want cameras. It seemed reasonable. People have home security cameras. But then I noticed how they watch the feeds, constantly, obsessively. What are you looking for? Nothing. Just checking. But they looked scared, like before. A week later, I got a call from their neighbor, Mrs. Patterson. Claire, I'm worried about your parents. Why? What's happening? They're outside at night. Both of them, standing in the yard, just staring at the house. Staring at their own house? For hours. Last night they were out there from 11 p.m. to 3 a.m., just staring. Did you talk to them? I tried. Your father said they were keeping watch. He wouldn't explain what that meant. I drove to their house immediately, found them in the backyard, 2 p.m., just standing there, looking at the house. "Mom? Dad? What are you doing?" They turned to me, both pale, both exhausted. "We're watching," my dad said simply. "Watching what?" "The house. To see when they come." "When who comes?" They looked at each other, then back at me. "You wouldn't believe us if we told you," my mother said. "Try me." They hesitated. Finally, my father spoke. "The people watching us. They're real. They've always been real. The hospital tried to convince us they weren't, but we know the truth." "Dad, that's the delusion talking." "It's not a delusion." He was getting agitated. "We see them. They're in the house. They watch us constantly." "Show me." "Right now, show me where they are." They led me inside, pointed to the living room corner. "Right there." "Can't you see them?" I looked. Empty corner. Nothing there. "There's nothing there." "They're invisible to you," my mother explained, "but not to us. We see them clearly." "What do they look like?" They described figures in detail. 3 of them, always in the same corner. Tall, thin, wearing dark clothes, never moving, just watching. "Have you been taking your medication?" They both looked guilty. "The medication makes them harder to see," my dad admitted, "but we can still feel them." "So what's the point?" They'd stopped taking their meds. I called their psychiatrist. She adjusted the medication, made it stronger. "You need to take this," I insisted. "Both of you, every day." They agreed, reluctantly. For another 2 weeks, they improved. Then Tyler called me. "Claire, we need to talk about Mom and Dad." "What now?" "I did some research on shared delusional disorder. It has a high relapse rate, especially if the couple stays together." "You're saying they need to separate?" "I'm saying that might be the only way to break this cycle permanently." "They've been married for 40 years. We can't just separate them. Then they might stay delusional forever." "Or it might get worse." I didn't want to hear that. But I knew he was probably right. Last month, things came to a head. I got a call from the police. My parents had been found standing in their driveway at 4 a.m., screaming at their own house. "They're in there! They're in there!" Neighbors called the police, worried, scared. The officers brought them to the hospital again. This time, the doctors were more serious. "Ms. Watson, your parents need intensive treatment, possibly inpatient care for an extended period." "How long?" "Weeks, maybe months, and we strongly recommend they not live together when they're released." "They're married." "We understand. But their delusions feed off each other. As long as they're together, they'll continue to reinforce these beliefs." Tyler and I had to make an impossible decision. Do we separate our parents, destroy their marriage to save their sanity, or do we let them stay together and risk them getting worse? We chose their health. We found 2 separate assisted living facilities, both with psychiatric care. My mother would go to one, my father to another, 30 miles apart. They could talk on the phone, video chat, but no in-person visits for at least 6 months. "You're splitting us up," my father said when we told them. "It's temporary. To help you get better." "We're fine together." "You're not fine. You're screaming at your house at 4 a.m. You think invisible people are watching you." "They are watching us." My mother was crying. "Please don't separate us." "We need each other. You need to get better," I said. "Both of you." It was the hardest thing I've ever done. They moved to the facilities 3 weeks ago. They hate it. They call me constantly, begging me to let them see each other. "Just one visit, please." The doctors say no. Not yet. This is torture. It's treatment. But I feel like a monster. The doctors say they're improving, slowly. My mother barely mentions the Watchers anymore. My father still talks about them, but less frequently. "When can we go home?" they both ask. "When you're better." "We are better. When the doctors say you're better." It's been 3 weeks since the separation. I visit them separately, twice a week each. They're better, noticeably better, but they're also miserable, lonely, heartbroken. "I miss your father," my mother cries every visit. "I know, Mom. When can I see him?" "Soon." The doctors are considering a supervised visit next month. Next month? That's forever. It's 4 weeks. It feels like forever. I visit my father. Same conversation, same pain. How's your mother? She's good, getting better. Does she ask about me? Every time. Tell her I love her. I will. Tyler thinks we did the right thing. They're improving. The separation is working. But they're miserable. Better miserable and sane than happy and delusional. Is that really better? Yes, it is. I'm not sure I agree. Last week I asked my mother, "Do you still see them? The Watchers?" She hesitated. Sometimes. But I know they're not real. That's good. But Claire? Yes? What if they were real? What if your father and I were the only ones who could see them? Mom, I know. They're not real. The doctors have explained it. I understand intellectually, but emotionally, I still feel watched. That's what scares me most, even with medication, even with separation, even with therapy. Part of them still believes. So here's what I learned from all of this. The mind is more fragile than we think. My parents were normal, healthy people. Then something broke. Maybe stress. Maybe a chemical imbalance. Maybe something we'll never understand. And suddenly, they saw things that weren't there. Believed things that weren't true. And they pulled each other deeper into the delusion. That's the terrifying part. It wasn't one person going crazy alone. It was 2 people, so close, so connected, that they shared the same madness. I don't know if they'll ever be fully okay again. I don't know if they'll ever stop feeling watched, but I hope so. God, I hope so. So let me ask you something. Have you ever watched someone you love lose touch with reality? How did you handle it? Did you feel like you were betraying them by getting them help? Share in the comments, because this is the hardest thing I've ever dealt with. And if this story resonated with you, hit subscribe, because mental health matters. And sometimes, helping someone means making decisions they'll hate you for. My name is Claire Watson. 3 months ago, my parents whispered, "Act normal, they're watching." Nobody was there, and I'm still trying to save them from what they can't see isn't real. Thank you for listening. Remember, mental illness doesn't discriminate. It can happen to anyone. Check on your loved ones. Notice the warning signs. And if you see them, get help, even if they hate you for it. It might save their life. See you next time.